The world of playable shark-focused video games is a rather shallow pool, consisting of a handful of mobile games and one true open-world experience in 2006, called Jaws Unleashed. The studio behind the successful Killing Floor franchise has casted their creative rods into the shark-infested waters of game development and created Maneater, an open-world shark RPG. Does Maneater fulfill the dream of becoming the ocean's most fearsome apex predator? Or is the game on the bottom of the food chain?
The shark's teeth can now be used for necklaces that tourists will wear for about a week before tucking them away permanently in a drawer.
Find out in our review. The game starts with an opening of a reality television show, appropriately called Maneater. You're introduced to the crew of the Cajun Queen and its captain, Pierre LeBlanc, also known as Scaly Pete.
Daddy hunted sharks. I hunt sharks. It's in the blood.
Scaly Pete works exclusively as a shark bounty hunter, along with his son Kyle, who's working for him over the summer.
Studies marine biology.
You quickly get the impression that Scaly Pete hates sharks, and would gladly rid the entire ocean of them if he could.
What I do, I consider a sacred honor. Kill them all if I could.
After the game's brief opening tutorial as an adult female bull shark, you're captured and killed by Scaly Pete. Scaly Pete removes a young shark pup from its womb, mutilates it with his knife, and tosses it overboard, but not before the pup rips Scaly Pete's hand off.
The tiny pup responds with an instinct for survival.
You'll never want to turn off that camera.
This is where the game begins, with you as a 3-foot-long baby bull shark in the middle of a bayou swamp. You'll continue to swim, explore, eat, and grow, while avoiding dangers along the way and finishing various quests and objectives. As you grow, you continue to see glimpses of the story of Pete and his son, revealing the history and whatnot between the family and Scaly Pete's hatred of sharks.
Boy, he wanted that job. Wanted it bad. Found it once. Didn't catch it, no.
There are only a few cutscenes in the game, but the reality television style keeps it fresh and interesting. They even include hashtags, pop-ups, and other funny things you'd normally see in a reality television show, which is a nice touch.
Hello! How you mama in there?
Your actions throughout the game are narrated by actor and comedian Chris Parnell. Most people will probably recognize his voice as that of Jerry from Rick and Morty.
While adorable, these soft-stuff mascots don't provide much in the way of nutritional value.
Chris does a fantastic job at delivering voice narration using a flat, educational tone. You're bound to chuckle aloud quite a few times at his one-liners.
A local critic once wrote that Amos Beauregard was the Rodin of the Bayou, but Beauregard was functionally illiterate and had no idea who Rodin was.
The narration is a unique touch you don't see in gaming very often, and it works well, especially since the shark can't talk.
Fast and aggressive, the mako is known as the peregrine falcon of sharks. But as the peregrine is a land-based bird, this designation means nothing to the mako.
The core gameplay in Maneater is eat, explore, evolve, and that's exactly what you do. You devour multiple forms of aquatic life, as well as humans. Each time you consume a fish, reptile, or mammal, you're awarded health, experience, and resources. When you've consumed enough things, you'll level up, do more damage, swim faster, and even grow in size. While there are 5 stages of growth in the game, you're not limited to them. This means you grow a little every time you level up, even if it's a small amount.
The water's murkiness, or turbidity. The shark is now an adult, and she should probably spend less, save more, and start researching indexed mutual funds.
The biggest you can grow in the game is 9 meters, which is about 29 feet. For reference, that is bigger than Bruce the shark from the movie Jaws.
That's a 20-footer.
25. 3 tons on them.
Some players might be disappointed that you can't grow into triple digits, like the Megalodon. I was fine with the final size of the bull shark. Besides, you need to be a reasonable proportion to navigate the world's 8 different zones, which are vast in scale and have beautiful visual designs.
Golden Shores was built as vacation residences for wealthy out-of-towners, with spectacular ocean views, private beach access, and a gate to keep out the locals.
The environments in Maneater are some of the most diverse, creative, and breathtaking surroundings I've seen in a video game in a long time. From swimming in trash-infested, scummy freshwater lakes, to exploring the vast depths and caves of the open ocean. Each zone looks amazing and gives you a good amount of gameplay variety as well. Some areas like Dead Horse Lake are trash-ridden, green algae-infested cesspools with giant alligators waiting to take a chunk out of you. Others are maze-like canals that have a big subsystem of pipes and tunnels to explore. Some even challenge you to navigate and explore outside the ocean to reach shallow ponds, lakes, or even swimming pools, which is every child's worst nightmare. You're able to easily navigate these big environments with a clearly labeled world map that you can mark things on, as well as update and discover new points of interest using your sonar ability. You'll use this consistently to discover landmarks, nutrition caches, and a lot of other collectibles you'll want to find. All of these fantastic environments are made even better thanks to fun combat and easy controls. Being a shark in water, you have a huge amount of verticality at your disposal. Whether that's diving down into a gate, leaping over a wall, or flopping on land to slowly get somewhere. It's all fun and fairly easy to grasp with the controller. Eating enemies is also incredibly satisfying. When you're small, you can only nip and bite larger foes. This makes it feel like an aerial combat game, striking, then circling around for another attack. As you get bigger towards the end, instead of nipping and biting enemies, you can hold them fully in your jaws. By doing this, you can either chomp down multiple times to consume them and gain health, or thrash them by shaking your head back and forth violently. Or why not do both, thrash and chomp? You're not just limited to biting and eating enemies either. You can tail whip, and throw anything in your mouth at an enemy to damage or stun them. When you do this, time slows to a crawl, giving you ample opportunity to locate your target, throw the item in your mouth, and then hit it with your tail like a baseball bat. It can make for some hilarious moments and effective fighting tactics, as different types of sea life and items do varying degrees of damage. Some prey even has more effectiveness over others. For example, throwing sea turtles seems to stun enemies better than a grouper fish.
I see turtles.
Once past the starting zone, you'll be able to eat humans. This has a cost though. You'll gain threat if you consume too many people, and bounty hunters will be called to deal with you.
Make no mistake, those shark hunters may occasionally drink on the job. Actually, that's pretty irresponsible.
It's a great system, one that constantly reminded me of wanted levels in Grand Theft Auto. I'd find myself pushing to see how long I could survive waves of stronger enemies, while raising my infamy rank before diving away to avoid death and detection.
Wait, is that?
The hunt is over, and there will be an inevitable rush on dollar drafts at Flamingo Joe's.
The infamy rank starts at 0 and goes up to 10. It's a blast, and brings back the same feeling and thrill of going on a rampage in GTA and trying to survive. While eating people as a shark is great fun, this is an RPG, and what would an RPG be without builds and classes? Maneater allows you to spend resources you gain by eating things and allocate them into the game's evolution system. The resources are divided into 4 types: protein, fat, minerals, and mutagen. You spend these resources on leveling up various parts of your body and organs. You can have up to 3 organ evolutions at once. These can vary from increasing your health, making you faster on land, and even improve how much of a resource you get from eating something. It just doesn't stop there though. The game also has 3 different body evolutions for your shark as well. Think of them as classes. This is an RPG after all. The body evolution options the game features are bioelectric, bone, and shadow. Each specific evolution can be upgraded 5 times and improves greatly with each tier. You can equip them on your tail, head, body, fins, and jaws. Every evolution does something different that can change the gameplay. The bioelectric evolution focuses on stunning enemies with shock attacks and doing AoE damage with your bite. The bone evolution increases your mass, ramming attack, and decreases the amount of damage taken. The shadow evolution specializes on speed, healing when you bite, and poison attack damage. You unlock these evolutions by progressing through the story mode and meeting certain requirements on challenges. Things like finding all landmarks in an area, or by defeating apex predators that serve as the zone bosses.
The Bayou Brawler, the American alligator.
Once you've unlocked a new evolution, you can retreat to your grotto. This is where you can change and equip your loadout, as well as mix and match evolutions, to fit the playstyle you like most. Maneater is a brilliant game, but it does have some minor issues. Being a big open world game, I did run into a few fish that seemed to have frozen in place or had stopped moving altogether, and some aggressive enemies that seemed to forget that I was there after engaging with them. Sometimes, while I traversed on land to eat people, the camera would violently whip around and convulse for no reason. The game's auto-targeting system is great and works well. However, early on in the game fights can be tough, especially when there are multiple aggressive enemies around. This is due to the lack of a target lock feature. It can be annoying as you're trying to attack a target, designated as highly dangerous, only to have the game swing you into another smaller, unimportant target, thus missing your window for a critical strike on your intended enemy. This was only really noticeable early on in the game, when more than 2 underwater enemies were focused on you. My Xbox One X also chugged at certain points during my playthrough, mainly when a lot of boats and evolution effects were on screen at once. None of these issues ruined my experience whatsoever, but they're worth noting.
You still got a hell of a fish out there, with a mouth about this big.
The story itself is fun, and it's even told in a very creative and interesting way. I just can't help but feel it was cut short. During the game, you hear about this mega shark that killed Scaly Pete's father.
My daddy, his granddaddy, was killed by a mega shark.
I'm sorry. He's talking about a prehistoric fish that went extinct 2.6 million years ago.
I seen
Now,
it.
you were a kid.
Ain't they discover new animals all the time?
I kept thinking the story was going to go in the direction of me having to fight this mega shark as the last boss, and inadvertently save Scaly Pete's life, teaching him a lesson in the process. However, the story didn't go in that direction. In fact, the story seems to speed up and ends pretty abruptly. I can't help but think there was a lot more to this narrative, but maybe Tripwire Interactive didn't have the time, manpower, or budget to complete it.
Not everybody made to be a fisherman. I just hope this whole university thing works out for him, yeah?
The developers over at Tripwire Interactive have gone above and beyond in executing this game's concept, gameplay, and design. The game feels like a AAA title. You could even call it Grand Theft Shark, because honestly, that's what it feels like. The sheer number of things to explore, eat, and collect will keep you busy for hours. The gameplay combat may be simplistic, but it's one of the most addictive loops I've played in a long time. Tripwire Interactive has managed to capture what it feels like to be Jaws, right down to jumping out of the water, landing on a boat, and chomping away at the hunters on it. That in and of itself is a monumental achievement to accomplish. At $39.99, really? $40 for one of the most enjoyable games I've played in a long time means you have no excuse not to get this. I cannot applaud Tripwire Interactive enough for taking a risk with a new IP and concept that we really haven't gotten since Jaws Unleashed in 2006. If you were a fan of Jaws Unleashed, or ever wanted to truly live out your apex predator shark fantasy, do yourself a favor and buy Maneater. While you're at it, tell your friends about Maneater. Spread the shark-loving goodness because this franchise has fins, and I can't wait to see what's around the next coral reef. I can sum up the game in one word: Jawsome. For more video reviews and everything else gaming related, you're already in the right place. You're on Shacknews.com.